Welcome to our Spooky Scary Saturdays. This week, the movie that we tackled and are going to be getting into was the original Evil Dead. Before we go ahead and get into the video, the Get Ready With Me, as well as the movie talk, review, fun fact video. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Kristen. I do beauty related, spooky related, all sorts of fun goodies here on YouTube as well as Instagram. Do yourself a favor, go ahead, hit that like, subscribe, and that bell icon to be notified when I upload new videos. I will be posting videos all Saturday long heading up to Halloween. So I will give you a second to do that. All right, let's go ahead and hop on into it. Originally released as Book of the Dead, The Evil Dead is a 1981 American supernatural horror film. Your main character, Ashley, parentheses, Ash Williams, played by Bruce Campbell, is the only character that you see reappear in the first 3 installments of the film franchise.
They're alive, Ashley!
The original trilogy is The Evil Dead, that came out in 1981, Evil Dead 2 came out in 1987, and Army of Darkness, 1992.
Yeah.
The franchise was also resurrected in 2013 with Evil Dead, one of the only reboots that I mess around with. There may or may not be a prequel in the works for Evil Dead Rise, which would be a sequel to the Evil Dead reboot from 2013. So, fingers crossed, right? And on Starz, there was, I'm not sure if it's still on, the TV show based off of the franchise, Ash versus the Evil Dead, starring, of course, Bruce Campbell, the man.
Groovy.
So the basic story for those who are not familiar with The Evil Dead, it is basically Ash and his girlfriend, another couple, and his sister end up going into a cabin in the woods for a fun night away. There in the cabin, they find a book of sort of like witchcrafty, sort of witchy sort of stuff. And when the text is read aloud, which of course they do, it awakens the dead, literally. The group of friends there have released evil within that area, sort of like this evil spirit almost, sort of going throughout, like wind blowing in the trees sort of idea. And they either have to fight for their lives or become the Evil Dead. And with that, for some reason in that first movie, Ash is the only one who somehow doesn't get quote-unquote possessed by this evil entity that's taking over the entire friend group. I mean, it starts with his sister, his girlfriend, who I really love the girlfriend becoming possessed because she's my favorite. By far. I just love her sort of laughing and nagging and almost making a mockery of her boyfriend. I really, really love it. And just her character, all giggly and laughing. I feel like if I were ever possessed by some evil entity, that would probably be mine. But it's just the difficult decisions that he has to make throughout that in order to survive and, make it throughout the night. So that is the tale that most know, but here are a few fun facts that you may or may not have known about the filmmaking of The Evil Dead. Apparently, or I guess I should say allegedly, the cast smoked weed while filming the scene where they were listening to the professor's tape. But the footage couldn't be used because the actors were too stoned.
Man, I just totally forgot forgot why I was laughing.
Okay, no more for the cheerleader, okay?
The Evil Dead was actually not the first film of this vision, I guess, story by the director who came out with The Evil Dead. There actually was a short film that was released in 1978 called Within the Woods, starring Bruce Campbell, and it's kind of, you would say, like the storyline, but like a short film, which eventually became The Evil Dead. The actual cabin that they filmed in has its own dark history, and some would say or speculate that it is considered to be haunted. Stephen King, who was already a very established horror author at the time, endorsed the film, which definitely meant a lot to the director. They got creative with camera movement. It all kind of, that signature running around shaky cam sort of came around just because they were not able to afford a camera stabilizer, and thus making their own trend, really. Those were my fun facts about The Evil Dead. When you ask me what I think about Evil Dead, I mean, to me, you say like cabin in the woods sort of spooky, scary movie, that's what it is immediately going to go into my head. I mean, it's one of the first that really depict that creepy, woodsy sort of just creepy feeling, and the fact that, you know, that fear of you don't really know what could happen out in the woods, and not necessarily because there's, you know, evil waiting outside for you, like monsters, animals, people, anything like that. It's more of like a spiritual, almost like paranormal sort of activity that I think a lot of us kind of connect to being out in like the countryside and woodsy, sort of that scary feeling that we get. I don't know, it's just such a great combinations of so many amazing, awesome horror and sci-fi elements. Really, I mean, Evil Dead, just, even the reboot, I love the reboot of it because it makes it its own and kind of makes it more of like a witchy, it is still paranormal, but it's also just gritty and more real than the original, but that's kind of what makes the original so great. I mean, the makeup for the time and the budget is just phenomenal. The prosthetics, like, it's all just so good for the time. I mean, being in the 80s, being able to do some of that stuff, and again, on that budget they had, it's truly a phenomenal film that, to me, it's almost like an art piece in a way. Like, it did so much for the time and just really kind of did a lot for, you know, B horror films, and kind of put, you know, lesser known filmmaking sort of out there, I should say. So I really love Evil Dead. I think it is a horror classic that all horror buffs should be watching, adding to their collection, and I'm going to keep this in my spooky, scary Saturdays, and probably next year we will get into it. So let me know what you thought about this movie talk, review, fun fact video. Go ahead, check out all my other videos, and I will see you next Saturday.